what a year we've had in early childhood. We hear a lot of the times this year where we've got kinder teachers who've worked in the field for 10 to 25 years and they're like, I've never had a year like this before. I feel a big part of this year is impulse control. A big reason why we've got children running indoors, playing erratic running games with no purpose outdoors, throwing sand, snatching at their friends is impulse control. And I just want to share with you the fundamental components of impulse control. We don't learn to control our impulses just because we've had 3 or 4 birthdays. The first part of impulse control is self-awareness. And we know that children are lacking self-awareness. I believe children are lacking self-awareness because we're not connected with self. We get connected with our body, our mind, and our body through movement and play and sensory experiences. When we're walking up and down supermarket aisles, we're having self-awareness of the size of us compared to other people and other kids. We're learning about self-awareness by the speed that we walk in a supermarket versus the speed that we walk at the park or the speed that we walk in a library. We're building up that self-awareness of our own body when it feels excited, when it feels bored, when it feels safe, when it feels nervous. But what if we're not having these experiences? We know a large number of families, we are so busy going to work, it's drop off, pick up, extracurricular activities. Children need experiences in all different areas and experiences. Have they been to places like the park, the museum, the library, a small community concert, a restaurant when it's busy, a restaurant when it's quiet? Have they been to people's different environments at home? People who may live in really exciting, vibrant houses, people who live in nice and relaxing and calming houses. Have they been to different churches and temples, experiencing all of these different environments? Or are we so busy that our children are going from home to daycare to home? Our children need a range of different environments to feel our self-awareness, feel our body in different experiences. But are we giving them a phone or an iPad to soothe them so they don't have to experience that environment, they don't have to experience boredom, nervousness, excitement, happiness? This is what we need to try and make sure children feel a sense of self-awareness. We also need children to have emotional regulation. Are we allowing our children to feel all different emotions? Or are we quickly trying to get rid of them, shut them down, make us feel more comfortable? I know it's taken me a lot of time and a lot of my own personal therapy to be able to handle the emotions of my children. Coming from a space where I didn't have that emotional support, or I felt that emotions needed to be quickly shut down, I had to learn my children need to feel all different emotions. They need to feel frustrated, disappointed, sad, angry, because when we feel them, we express them, then when they're not sitting inside our body, bottling up all the way up to the surface. We will feel disappointed in our day sometimes. We will feel bored at home or at kinder sometimes. We may not always get what we want, and it's okay to feel frustrated. But I know in this busy lifestyle, we are trying to put out spot fires, ensure that children are attending to their emotional needs. They don't have to feel disappointment, sadness, upset. But we need that. We are an emotional being that needs emotions. When we feel them, we learn strategies on how to work through them. Or if we are just quick to shut them down or avoid them, that's a key part of impulse control. We are going to feel frustrated. We just need to learn different coping strategies so then we learn to not snatch at our friend out of frustration or push our friend out of frustration. It comes with practice. It comes with learning how to express ourselves more appropriately. But we don't do this through punishment or shame, even when we don't really do it through talking green choices and red choices. Because when we talk about green and red choices, we're assuming that the child has made that physical thought to do that action. But impulse control happens over years of making mistakes, years of developing these skills. And we know that some of our children didn't get those early moments to build up these skills because of social isolation. We need to learn these skills in a calm and safe and secure environment where mistakes are okay. We're not punished for making a mistake because, hey, I have poor impulses sometimes. I make mistakes in my emotional regulation and my behavior still. So it's really important that we're looking at impulse control. Do we have a self-awareness? Can we be aware of our emotions, know that we're feeling them, accept that we're feeling them, but learn strategies of more appropriate ways to work through them? Another key component that we are seeing such challenge in is attention control. Our children are fleeting with their attention, finding it so hard to focus on one activity at a time. Screens. Screen time is flooding our children's sensory systems with just repetitive, flicking visual information, loud, screeching, auditory sound information. Our children are barely having enough focus to do a 2-minute activity, 2 minutes of joint attention with us, as screen time is taking away their focus. And we know for ourselves, screen time is draining our attention control. Can you even pay attention to me without getting lost in your thoughts and distracted by the 5 or 6 minute mark? Attention control is crucial for impulse control because I need you to be in the moment of this experience, in the moment of our exchange. But how quick are we all fleeting to our to-do list? What's for dinner? Who did I forget to call back today? How many of us are just in the moment, enjoying the trees in the distance, looking at the clouds for what pictures we can make, just mindfully enjoying tearing paper, winding wool, making paper dolls. We used to play in such moments of enjoyment, and now it's like we feel like we can't play because it's a quote unquote waste of time. How sad is that? Play is nowhere near a waste of time. Play is allowing us to be in the moment, give our full attention to the creative, imaginary experience. Children need it. Children need that way more than they need apps and screen time. Impulse control, controlling my snatching, pushing, shoving behavior. We need to teach them focus and attention. And it doesn't need to be academic. It can be in amongst their play. Talking through a pretend phone or a banana to our dinosaurs and our teddy bears. Making a car track for our track to just enjoy the moment of driving around our track. Building different towers using cardboard and blocks. Being in the moment of that experience, enjoying what we're creating without it having to be an Instagram-worthy photo. It's going to build up self-awareness. I enjoy when I do these activities. When I'm out in the garden cutting my herbs, that makes me feel good. If I'm feeling stressed, my go-to is listening to music. That makes me feel good. These are all the really important components of impulse control. The last challenge that I'm seeing quite commonly in our children is their memory. And this worries me because I've come from aged care. I worked in aged care before I ever worked in early childhood. And in aged care, we know that memory is what can really cause quite dysfunction for our seniors. And I'm nervous of the children's capacity to remember information. They don't need to these days. I could ask, hey Google, remind me at 4:45 to set an action for me. Hey Google, what's the weather tomorrow? I don't need to go and search for it, remember the forecast from 3 days ago. Everything is just given to me passively, quickly, without having to think. What's that going to do in 50, 60 years' time? Memory games were part of our lifestyle. So many of us would play concentration, patience. We'd play card games like Snap. We'd be constantly playing hide and seek where I had to remember where my friend hid last time because the chances of them hiding there again is less. But we don't play as much hide and seek anymore. Card games used to just be a resource that most family moments had. There were a deck of cards brought out to the table when we had a meal or when we had a cup of tea. It's really scary that the Switch or the Nintendo device is quicker to come out than activities that involve all of these elements of impulse control, attention control, and memory. So, good news is, let's integrate this into our day. Let's have more moments of memory games. Memory games including, what day is it today? What did you have for breakfast? What did you enjoy doing just before bed last night? Can you find me 3 yellow colored objects outside? And then we also want to have attention control. When they're doing an activity, try and engage them in it for just that extra 1 minute. Try and keep them engaged in searching for bugs for that extra minute. Whether they're enjoying playing with cars on the floor, try and extend it just a little extra minute. Keep them focused for that moment longer. We also want to have them self-aware. Ask them, does that activity make you feel settled, bored, excited? How does it make you feel? Have them attached to that emotional regulation. And also acknowledge that they are allowed to have days where they feel a bit grumpy. And that's okay, because I have days when I feel grumpy. Putting all of that together can support them with their emotional and impulse control. But it's really important to remind children, just telling them over and over to stop hitting and snatching and shoving can actually cause them more anxiety. Let's build this foundation first. And I believe that when we build a foundation of strong social and emotional development, and we bring a really strong amount of movement control, I feel then we see improvements in impulse control and self-regulation. So if you have any questions, be sure to reach out. If you need support or ideas around activities, then check out my Let's Regulate program, and I'm always here to help. You've got this, one little change at a time. Take care.